I want to tell you about the stock market trade I made this morning when there's a lot of red on the screens. But as the markets were tumbling, what else was going on? Gold was going the other way. Gold was increasing in price. And I'll even tell you what's next for the economy. 2 things you should be watching that are coming up. We'll talk about that a little bit in this video, but I also want to, of course, mention that the Federal Reserve 2-day policy meeting ends off tomorrow when they're probably going to raise interest rates by 1 more quarter of a percentage point. Good luck, everybody. Nothing in this video should be considered as personalized trading advice for you. The Peter Leeds YouTube channel is about you, your financial understanding, your financial opportunities, the risks to avoid. This is where you learn all about it. So if you subscribe, you'll get more of this information as we build it out and present it to you. And we never give advice, but we will give out our opinions, and our opinions from the entire Peter Leeds team are all included in the newsletter, which gives you our world-famous stock picks. We've been in business for over 25 years. We've got customers on 6 different continents. The markets went down today because the banking crisis is not yet over. They're starting to realize that. You guys already knew it because you learned about it here. We talked about it already, but the banking crisis is not over. There's more shoes to drop, and that's what spooked the market. It started coming down pretty heavily today. And that's what led me into the stock trade I made. I've been trying to get into more oil and gas kind of companies, energy companies. I've got a lot of exposure to gold companies, and I'm going gold and I'm going oil. So if you're a subscriber to the PeterLeeds.com newsletter, you're going to hear about the exact trade I made. In the meantime, it's a small Canadian oil and gas company that's actually owned by Chevron. I was trying to buy Chevron. I was looking into the shares and I thought, why pay the exchange when you have a Canadian broker? I'm a dual citizen, American Canadian. Now I live in Detroit and my studio's in Canada. Or I'll say my home is in Detroit, my studio's in Canada. But I have a Canadian broker, so they have a little bit of a rip on the exchange rate. I thought, well, what's a good quality Canadian oil and gas company? There's plenty of them, lots of them. But I looked in this one that I liked a lot, and it so happened to be turned out that it's actually owned by Chevron. And tomorrow we're going to have the Federal Reserve probably increase interest rates by 25 basis points, or 1/4 of a percentage point. That's what is the expectation across the board. Most people expecting that, most analysts. So if they do anything above or below the expectation, that's when you're going to see a big move in the markets. If they don't raise interest rates at all, you're going to see a big spike in the price of gold. And it's highly unlikely, but if they were to increase interest rates by 1/2 percentage point more than expected, you're going to see strength in the US dollar, which will put pressure on prices of things that are bought in US dollars, such as oil, gold. So that announcement will come out tomorrow, midday. But gold had a nice jump today, up, $31 or something last I checked. But again, you knew it was going to be going higher in price because you watched these videos. But what else you get out of these videos is I'll tell you what's going to be happening next. And I've been telling you for a while, there's going to be 2 things to watch for. Real estate prices are going to be under pressure for a while. They have a lot lower to go from here. This takes months, quarters. It'll take a while, but as I always say, just wait. And I'm always talking about these pension shortfalls. And I've been looking into this because it's not making sense to me. Why isn't it more of a bigger deal? And I realized what the pivotal point was that I think why a lot of people are missing it. It's a accounting trick, not a trick, it's an accounting decision where a company has a $1,000 bond. They paid $1,000 for it. They have this bond. They say it's worth $1,000. Have bond prices come down? Yes, they have. As interest rates go higher, bond prices come down. So they have this thing on their books for $1,000. So now maybe it's worth $800. But they don't say, oh, we've only got $800. They say, we're going to keep that $1,000 bond until maturity. So another 10 years, 20 years, however long that bond is for. And therefore, they don't have to indicate that they have the loss on their books. So nobody knows about it. All these organizations are just holding their bonds to maturity, so they don't have to admit that the value of their assets is declining. Kind of like saying when you take a loss on paper, buy a stock, it drops half in value, and you say, I'm not going to sell it. So technically I haven't lost any money. That's why nobody's noticing this pension crisis, but it is a matter of time until this big problem under the surface gets noticed. At that point, we'll let the media and every other YouTuber tell you about this problem and why it's so big and why it's such a major problem, but they're not talking about it now. Keep that in mind. And Stephanie, the analyst and writer extraordinaire for the Peter Leeds newsletter, was wondering if YouTube was throttling the Peter Leeds YouTube channel. Since we went from doing the Peter Leeds Army through YouTube, they were making a little bit of a cut on everybody who joined the army. And I said, yeah, probably, it's very likely. But then I also mentioned, but 3 other ways why YouTube would be throttling our traffic. One of which includes the fact that I deleted some old videos. They're old videos. I thought that'd be okay. One of the problems is that we don't advertise, but I'd rather take the hit and have the channel throttled than put ads in front of your eyes. A few other reasons too. We were doing shorts. Speaking of which, go check out some of the shorts we're putting out. Short videos. We're just trying to expand the footprint of the Peter Leeds brand. And one of the ways you can help us do that, I mean, we're working hard here. Value for value. How about you do something for us? Subscribe to the channel. It won't even cost you anything. Right on. Let's have a relationship. Let's start a conversation. You guys are the best. And until the next video, take care of yourselves.